Yeah. It was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 craziest stories ever told on the Joe Rogan Experience.
I mean, this is crazy.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most shocking, wild, and astonishing stories ever told on the Joe Rogan Experience. Which of these stories was your favorite? Let us know below. Number 10. Jewel's rise to stardom. Singer and songwriter Jewel never had it easy. On the Joe Rogan Experience, she described her experiences as she began her career.
I needed the money so badly. Like, I didn't have food, you know?
Cash-strapped and homeless, she did show after show despite reaping very little rewards. As her shows began to gather more and more attention, she was discovered soon after. However, despite the rise in popularity and receiving record deal offers from labels, she was at a crossroads.
And I was like, I wanted to do it, but I was terrified of doing it. So I made myself a promise that my number one job would still be to figure out how to be happy, and my number two job would be to be a musician.
She also points out that she turned down $1 million bonus.
Holy shit.
As a homeless kid.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is so crazy.
The passion as she tells her story is evident, and hearing Jewel empathize on prioritizing her happiness over all else is something we can all learn from as viewers.
It meant I had to put myself in an environment and in a position to win as a singer-songwriter and as a folk singer, no less, at the height of grunge.
Number 9. YEONMI Park's escape from North Korea. Some may already be familiar with YEONMI Park, one of the more well-known defectors of North Korea. She has been heavily outspoken about her experience in the country.
Literally the darkest place on earth.
Yes.
We don't have electricity.
During her appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, Park not only tells her story, but also provides details on how she escaped the country.
But the thing is, the tragic thing for North Korea, we cannot even say goodbye to our loved ones. So if we got caught on the journey, and if my father knew that we were escaping, he's gonna be punished so much.
To say that her journey was wild is an understatement. She describes crossing the frigid Gobi Desert and even packing poison and a razor blade as a plan B if she were ever to be captured. Despite Park being somewhat of a controversial figure due to some of her viewpoints and several hot takes, her story of survival is nothing short of incredible.
Wow.
Number 8. Joey Diaz does stand-up in Tennessee. A recurring guest on Joe Rogan's show, everyone knows that they're in for a treat whenever he's in the studio. The countless stories he's told are nothing short of hilarious and absolutely bonkers. One notable story he told on the show saw him go to Knoxville, Tennessee to do stand-up. It was there that he encountered a sex worker. They went on to hook up.
I went back to my room. I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I scored.
However, while performing his second show, he was confronted by the woman's husband. What only turned out to be more shocking was the fact that the man was angry not because Diaz got his wife, but because he didn't pay for her services.
When the cops came, he kept saying, man, somebody's going to get hurt if I don't have my $40.
His delivery and the manner by which he tells the story is nothing short of hilarious, and sums up why he's a favorite guest among JRE viewers.
You think that's crazy?
Number 7. Tyson Fury's identity crisis. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. Tyson Fury is one of the greatest boxers of this generation. However, his career hasn't been without his fair share of lows. On the Joe Rogan Experience, Fury delved right into the struggles he experienced. After defeating Vladimir Klitschko and becoming the heavyweight champion of the world, Fury lost his sense of self.
I'd wake up and I think, why did I wake up this morning? This is coming from a man who had everything. Money, fame, glory, titles, a wife, a family, kids, everything. But I felt as if I had nothing. I felt there was an empty, gaping hole.
He soon spiraled into a depression that involved heavy drug use and consumption of alcohol. This resulted in an extended break from competition.
I didn't care about boxing. I didn't care about living. I just wanted to die. And I was going to have a good time doing it while I was doing it.
After a near-fatal death experience, Fury took it upon himself to turn his life around and focus on his mental health. Inspirational through and through, Fury's tale ultimately shows that with the right mindset, anybody can get back on their feet.
I look back on it now, and I think, would I change that? I wouldn't. And not many people will think, well, this man's crazy for saying that on a radio show, but I wouldn't change a thing because I know it was supposed to happen and I needed to be tested to see what type of character I was.
Number 6. From poverty to UFC champion. Today, Francis Ngannou is one of the hardest-hitting fighters in MMA, period.
Look at this. Wham!
Man.
Oh my goodness.
But before that, he was someone just trying to make ends meet. He details his beginnings on the Joe Rogan Experience.
I hated this thing growing up. Oh, you can't imagine. I hated the sand mine, everything. I hated my life.
Growing up in Cameroon, he had a very rough upbringing. From working in sand mines and going days without barely eating food, Ngannou's story is harrowing.
You know, so I have to wake up at 5, just get ready, start work. Sometime with not eating. Then I get to school, and the school close at maybe 4 to 5. But since I didn't eat in the morning, by noon, 1 or 2, I'm hungry, I'm starving. I can't take it anymore.
Fortunately, his hardships only served as motivation and pushed him to work harder. He soon after started training in MMA, and so began his rise as one of combat sports' biggest stars.
So this has been a wild ride for you, huh?
Yeah, it's been a long road.
Number 5. How David Goggins became David Goggins. David Goggins is a beast. On JRE, you find out exactly why as he tells his life story.
What got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that I got in front of me. But
enduring racism and getting no love whatsoever from his father, Goggins went to the military. It is here that he developed his fortitude and surreal willpower. Listening to him speak on the Joe Rogan Experience, one would think that he is not from this planet, which somehow seems like a plausible explanation.
I wanted to be a man that detests mediocrity. It got me in a lot of trouble in the SEAL teams and going forward in my life because I started looking down on people for not going hard as shit.
His tale is fascinating, and it will have those listening be fully engaged. A true testament to hard work and dedication at the highest level, Goggins' story is the result of all of that and then some.
I'm driven. I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. That's it.
Number 4. Edward Snowden exposes the NSA.
I know we got way off topic here. I'll get back to it.
Fine. There's no such thing
but
as
when
off topic. We could do we could talk about whatever.
Many might be familiar with this whistleblower story.
Basically, everything that they could monitor, they were monitoring.
Condemned by the United States after releasing countless documents from the National Security Agency to the press, Snowden sought asylum in Russia and has been there ever since.
The government, of course, was trying very hard to change the conversation, as they always do, to be about who is this guy? What have they done, right? What's wrong with them? What are their problems? Who is this loony guy? So they can controversialize the source of a story rather than having to confront the story itself.
While explaining what took place, Snowden also explains his mindset and goes deep into why he did what he did. Although the government has painted him out to be a villain, his appearance does the exact opposite. The interview received critical acclaim, and while Snowden's story is quite crazy in and of itself, it showed the true depths of sacrifice he endured to expose the truth.
Well, all those years I was sitting, hoping for someone else to come forward, and no one did, right? That's because I was waiting for a hero. But there are no heroes, right? There's only heroic decisions. You are never further than one decision away from making a difference.
Number 3. Paul Stamets cures his stutter.
Now, I'm going to tell you something that's very deeply personal, and it's very significant in my life.
When Ohio-based mycologist Paul Stamets came on the show, everyone tuning in knew this would be a very unique episode, and it was. Delving deep into all things fungi, at one point Stamets describes one instance when he took a lot of mushrooms.
So 8 to 16 grams? Is that what
It
you're
was
talking about?
it was probably on the order of about 20 grams, you know.
His ensuing hallucination and where he finds himself while it's happening is nothing short of wild, and Rogan's reaction throughout the tale says it all.
And then it dawned on me, wait a second, Stamets. You're on the tallest tree on the tallest hill for miles in the middle of a lightning storm. This is not the best place to be. And so
But just when you think the ordeal can't get any crazier, it does. Feeling as though he's on the brink of death, Stamets began reflecting on his life. Annoyed by his habit to stutter, Stamets repeatedly told himself to stop during his trip. Soon after coming down from his high and fortunately still alive, Stamets soon realized he no longer had a stutter.
I stopped stuttering in one day.
Whoa.
Number 2. Joel Turner's hostage situation. When former SWAT operative Joel Turner came on the show, he went into full detail on all aspects of what his previous line of work entailed.
I was scared to death, man, in the sniper world. I was like, man, I hope it doesn't go bad. And I'm like, that can't be the mindset.
Right,
Holy
can't be
mackerel.
the mindset.
But it is the mindset of most cops because they don't have a why.
In one instance, he describes a hostage situation that he was called in to respond to. A man has taken his own daughter hostage, and the way the incident is described by Turner almost sounds like a scene from a movie.
I push the rifle in the window, and I come around the corner, and I look, and the little girl's looking right at me, right? Because all the broken glass.
Needing to take a shot, Turner details everything going on through his mind as he takes aim at the assailant. Despite the intensity and stress of the situation, Turner was successful and the girl was saved. The story is told in such detail that it almost feels as though we're right there with him.
I mean, it's just that was the culmination of everything. That was the start of Shot IQ. Because now I'm like, this is no bullshit.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Forrest Galante recounts a crocodile attack. It's not something we ever want to see.
I can show you pictures of it. It'll blow your mind.
Julie Kedzie soils herself. After a hygienic accident and win, this MMA fighter had to meet Vladimir Putin shortly afterwards.
So I just take my panties off and just roll them up and shove them behind the toilet. I know, seriously. Black lace thong, Vladimir Putin, that was mine. I want it back.
Michael Scott Moore's imprisonment. Captured by Somalian pirates, this journalist's story of survival is mind-boggling.
You were kidnapped by Somali pirates, and you were held hostage for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
What the was that like? And what does it feel like to be a free man now after all that?
Are you kidding? It feels great.
Steve-O's journey to sobriety. The Jackass star has come a long way.
And I was just like, I'm doing this to be... I had my priorities straight, and then I was there for 60 days. And so by the time I finished that, it was 6 months. And then I went into the regular sober living.
Daryl Davis and the KKK. This musician has convinced hundreds of KKK members to see the errors in their ways.
You've converted how many people? 200 KKK members? You've got them to drop their robes?
Right, some directly, some indirectly, yes.
How did that all happen?
Wow.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Nick Yarris's false imprisonment. Stories of individuals being wrongly convicted are terrifying, and Nick Yarris's story is exactly that, if not more.
Listen, man, to say that you've had a crazy experience in this life is one of the most understated things a person could ever say. I mean, where do we begin, right?
Back in the 80s, Yarris was wrongfully convicted for the murder of a woman, and it resulted in an over 20-year-long attempt on his end to clear his name. On JRE, Yarris gives details about everything, including his time in prison.
So I'm sitting there in 1985, 1986 with 105 years plus the death penalty. And I decided, this, I'm going to be a nice guy.
It's quite shocking, but fortunately, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And Yarris was exonerated in 2003 after DNA evidence proved his innocence. Despite experiencing such unfairness, Yarris's feat and ability to come out on top through it all is a true example of perseverance at its finest.
And I thought, I got to tell that story, But it's been so hard to come back from these moments, Joe. It's just like, I look at what they did to me.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.